Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills. I'm Rabbi Mark Kaiserman along with Cantor Emily Wygod-Pincus. We're delighted to be celebrating Shabbat here together, all of us as one. There's so much in the world that impacts our lives, from the big things out there around the globe to the little things that are not so little in our own lives. Love and life and death, health and hope and healing all affect us and all bring us into this room. For in this room tonight we celebrate and we mourn. We come together as a community and we are inspired to make a difference for tomorrow. Tonight is our Social Action Shabbat, and we are delighted to have our social action team leading the way in our service, and they'll be coming up in a little bit to share a little more about that. But tonight, we also begin the Shabbat weekend of celebrating Sloan Cooper's bat mitzvah, and so as we begin our service, we invite up to the bima Sloan with her parents, Howard and Stephanie, as we begin our candle lighting on page 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold it.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
The Kiddush is on page 123. Please rise.
Asher Kadeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'avav ratzon imkelanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techliah lemitzvah kodesh zecher l'tzion mitzrayim Kivanu Marharta Yatanu Kidasta Mikol Hamim V'Shabbat Koseha Ba'ahava Uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch Ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat
L'chaim.
L'chaim. Please be seated. We invite our social action Shabbat tonight. We invite to join us up on the bima, Rabbi Erwin Goldenberg, to introduce our service. This social, okay, great, thank you.
This social action service asks us to engage in a mitzvah, an act of social justice. A mitzvah is customarily translated as a commandment. In a modern view, it is a principle that the Jewish community regards as obligatory, as representing a core value. There are two major forms of mitzvot: the ritual between the human and God, such as saying the motzi before enjoying a meal or observing a holiday, and the ethical mitzvah, which is bein adam l'chaveiro, defining the relations between human beings. On this social action Shabbat, we observe a ritual mitzvah, a Shabbat service, but it emphasizes the ethical, asking us to affirm our commitment to social justice. Social justice has been at the center of Judaism from biblical times. For instance, Rabbi Simlai notes that the 613 mitzvot set the criteria for striving to be a just human being, a good Jew. He further explains that King David says in Psalm 15 that all of these mitzvot can be summed up in fewer verses. Adonai, who may sojourn in your tent, who may dwell in your holy mountain, one who lives without blame, who does what is right, etc. He goes on to say that Isaiah reduces the mitzvot to 6. Who of us can dwell with the never-dying blaze, one who walks in righteousness? Micah reduced the number to 3, to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Isaiah to 2, keep judgment and righteousness. And Amos to 1, seek me and live. All of these mitzvot are core values of Judaism, one of justice. In another tradition, Hillel is asked to explain Judaism while standing on one foot. He interprets the mitzvah, love your neighbor as yourself, as do not unto others that which you would not want them to do unto you. And Rabbi Akiva reduced that to the phrase, don't hurt. This means that the Torah's primary focus is human relationships, acting ethically, justly. Thus we hear the demanding words of the prophet Amos ringing in our ears today as never before, as he envisions a perfect age, not one in which we observe festivals, not a time defined by the sound of your hymns, excuse me, cantor, or the music of your lutes. Rather, he hopes for a future when we let justice roll down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream.
And it only seems right and fitting to follow with singing a new song to God on page 131, Shiru L'Adonai. Shiru L'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru L'Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru L'Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Shiru L'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru L'Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru L'Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Sabru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai, u'me'olam me'od, norahu al kol Elohim. Shir L'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir L'Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shir L'Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Sabru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai, u'me'olam me'od.
welcome the Sabbath bride and the Sabbath for all of us. Lechado D on page 138, rising when we get to the final verse.
Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad ishmianu El hameyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'lecha ki mekor Hamelacha mirash mikedem nesuka Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri
Verse 5.
Hitoreri kiva orech Umi uri 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 Shir dabeiri Kivod Adonai Alayik nigla Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat
Verse 9, please rise.
Boi v'shalom aderet bala gam b'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala V'lei Shabbat nekabela
Cantor keeps it fresh and exciting by sometimes adding verse 5 and sometimes not, so you have to stay on your toes for that. We welcome our call to worship on page 146, the Baruch Hu.
Baruchu et Adonai hamivorach Baruch Adonai Baruch Adonai hamivorach Leolam va'ed.
Please be seated. Next from our social action team, we invite up Jerry Strauss and Suzanne Smiley.
On Mitzvah Day, we accomplished so much for our temple community, as well as the community at large, due to an incredible team effort on the part of the social action team and many others. The event required a great deal of planning, many meetings, strong communications, and lots of heart. Everyone made a concerted effort to contribute to the best of their ability. The tasks ranged from finding speakers, working with a religious school, and identifying the theme of the day, which happened to be Act from the Heart, Make a Difference, to helping first graders make sandwiches, preparing lunch for the congregation, even finding boxes and scissors and printing informational flyers. The strength, the goodwill, the joy of giving, the flexibility, and the tremendous cooperation of those who participated truly made Mitzvah Day exceptional for everyone. And I wanted to thank everybody that participated. It was truly a team effort. Thank you.
Jerry was actually our leader in social action, so I want to thank him from the group for his tremendous, him and Lois, for their tremendous guidance and their tremendous cohesiveness in keeping us together and keeping us focused and inspiring us to be. So thank you. I was more involved in the sandwich making and gift bags, so I just wanted to share how I felt about doing that. My name is Suzanne. We sit here, we are taught and use our capacity to see and to hear and to understand, and we on this committee try to live these mitzvahs. COVID has elevated the cries of people in need, and we hear even more of their needs. There are lines of people in nearby communities. They are from different places in the world, speaking different languages, many seeking safety and opportunity, like so many of our ancestors. We can relate. And they need a little substance to help them moving along. We have seen the Seventh-day Adventist caretakers working hard with limited resources to answer the calls in their community. I am proud to say the Seventh-day Adventist calls the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills a partner in feeding the 250 people who arrived that Sunday, March 13th, which was Mitzvah Day, for a little bit of substance to help them on their journey. As a further benefit to our community, the children who made these sandwiches and made these gift bags learned the hands-on value of giving. They learned to create healthy, dignified menus for those less fortunate than themselves. The children were taught to see and hear the call of the needy, to be hospitable and to take action. And our committee learned to work together and to value each member's contributions. I found myself making very nice friends along the way. Glad we had the opportunity to become more aware of the many causes, and glad to be part of this community that makes a difference in the world.
As we do social justice in the world, we act in love, replicating the love that God shows us. We bring it into the world for others. We turn now to Ahavat Olam, a song of great love, page 150.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shakbeinu v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam ha'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negeh yomam v'layla yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha Al tasir mimenu leolamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael
Please rise, page 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu
invite our bat mitzvah, Sloan, back up to the bima. We invite everyone to please be seated.
Adonai, oh sorry. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'kol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha uvetecha, uvleftecha v'aderet, u'shofecha uvkumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'chayu letutavot b'neinecha, u'chtatam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'risharecha. Lema tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yotem kedoshim le'lechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeatem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet. Our next social action team will be shared by Jane Pinkett.
A lot of you know that the last several years I've done a lot of administrative work for the blood drive between us and the New York Blood Center. And after 3 years, it was such a blessing to be able to hold a blood drive with the New York Blood Center in person on Mitzvah Day. We were delighted that there was a full slate of appointments, and even walk-ins who saw the signs from the street were able to be accommodated. It was just such a wonderful feeling of camaraderie among everyone involved, and the volunteers and donors were all tremendous. We were able to complete the day with 49 life-saving pints, thanks to everybody for all their help.
Yes, I have to say those virtual blood drives on Zoom were very ineffective, so we're glad to be doing it in person again, one of the greatest mitzvot that any of us can give. We sing our song of miracles, Mi Chamocha. Tonight we're going to be doing one a little bit different.
So you can actually find this on the left side of the page, on page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it's eternally Egypt. That there's a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together, singing Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai. Mi Chamocha Nedar B'Kodesh. No
Next on the beam is Marcia Parness.
No estás sola, sus amigos del Reformed Temple of Forest Hills. You are not alone. Your friends at the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills. This simple message in Spanish on a card, colorfully decorated by so many volunteers, including some of you here, was included in 100 hygiene supply kits assembled on Mitzvah Day by our 6th grade religious school students and the wider temple community. We sent the kits to immigrant women and girls in a detention center in Pennsylvania. After learning about the detainees being housed in a former prison, one student innocently asked, "Where do immigrants go who didn't do anything wrong?" Julie Schweitert-Colazzo of Immigrant Families Together, joining us through Zoom, responded, the women and girls had a right to come to this country and seek asylum. They hadn't done anything wrong. It is incredibly gratifying to have helped our 6th graders have a greater understanding of the plight of immigrants in our country and learn how they can make a difference. It is also heartwarming to know that through the generosity and efforts of our temple community, our temple family, we not only help these women and girls obtain basic necessities, but also uplifted their spirits.
A song for this Sabbath day, Vishamru, page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The Tefillah begins on page 164 and uses the even-numbered pages only. Please rise.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi agid tehilatecha, ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Hayol, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וכל הכל, וסופר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם וישראל צרת. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים לרופאי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יעלו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Together, you are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. We'll hear now reflections from Jackson O'Brien and Barry Woolner.
Shabbat Shalom. As the Social Action Vice President of our youth group, I take it as my responsibility to make all of the Toffeeites engage in mitzvot. For Mitzvah Day, Toffee made sandwiches for those displaced by Hurricane Ida who were living in a hotel. An alarming thing that I learned was there were still 32 people living there, and they had been there since September. In addition to the sandwiches we made, we also delivered the leftover food from the lunch. When we arrived, the lady who picked up the food started to call everyone living under the same circumstances. It was heartwarming to know we greatly helped those people.
The mitzvah of addressing the challenges of our changing climate. The following words: I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder, which will destroy us too. From Anne Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl, were written at a different time and under different circumstances. Those words, however, opened my eyes to the critical need to explore and educate myself on how to have an impact on climate change. In the process of educating myself, I knew I needed to encourage others to educate themselves too. I offered encouragement and support to the Program Committee Chair of Toffee, Jackson O'Brien, to do a project on climate change. For Mitzvah Day 2022, I arranged for the Forest Hills Green Team to speak to the 4th and 5th grade religious group classes about how they can have an impact on the future of our planet. As an individual, the small steps I take may not have a significant impact on climate change, but as a community, the steps we take will. How lovely to think that no one need wait a moment. We can start now, start slowly changing the world. Anne Frank. No, we must start today, for the thunder has already reached our shores.
There's much peace we need in the world. Peace from war, peace from disease, peace from destruction of our planet. We offer a prayer of peace, Shalom Rav, page 178.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki Atahu Melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha livarech et Amcha Yisrael. Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
We continue with our own private prayers.
So this is a melody that I've sung before. It's actually sung in Israel now to the words of Kihine Kachomer, which is a prayer for the High Holy Days. But the melody originates from the Ukrainian Hasidic community, and we sing this with our hearts there and our thoughts of them. Yeah.
Torah is taught in many ways. It's taught with reading out of a book or a scroll, as we'll do in just a few moments. It's taught in prayers that we share with each other. But Torah is also taught through action. How we do things in the world teaches ourselves and others how to behave and how to make a difference. And so as we turn now to our Torah service, I'd like to invite all the members of the social action team to join me on the bima as we bring Torah into the congregation as you have brought Torah into our community. Page 364, please rise.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, v'kedush hato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, unerum b'mo Shemo yachtav. Yisrael ve'oraita, v'kodesh ha'berichu, haynu. Yisrael ve'oraita, v'kodesh ha'berichu, haynu. Torah, right, Torah, hallelujah. Torah, Torah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Torah, Torah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Eit chaim hi lamachzikim b'tomchecha mehushar. Eit chaim hi lamachzikim b'tomchecha mehushar. Deracheicha, darchei noam b'chol netivoteha shalom. Deracheicha, darchei noam b'chol netivoteha shalom. Eit chaim hi lamachzikim b'tomchecha mehushar. Eit chaim hi lamachzikim b'tomchecha mehushar. Ashireinu Adonai elecha ve'lashuva. Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu, v'kedem yalalai, lai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lai, 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 yalalai, yalalai, lai, 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 yalalai, 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 lai, lai.
This week's Torah portion is Shmini. We'll be reading from the book of Leviticus, the opening verses. It's on page 707, not in your prayer books, which don't even go that high, but in the Torah commentaries under the seats in front of you, unless you're in the front row, and then you got to go to the seat behind you, if you want to follow along. To offer our aliyah to the Torah, we invite up Jody Ann Herman, and giving us a preview of her bat mitzvah tomorrow morning is our bat mitzvah Sloan Cooper.
Baku Adonai Barak. Barak Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch Shabbat kabbalah mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Amen. Vayehi Vayom Hashemani Kara Moshe LeAharon Uvanav Uziknei Yisrael Vayomer El Aharon Kach Lecha Egel Ben Bakar Lechatat Va'ayil Le'ola Timimim V'hakrev Livnei Adonai Ve'el B'nei Yisrael Tidaber Le'mor Kehu Se'irisim Lechatat Va'egel Va'heves B'nei Shana Timimim Le'ola.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. B'kayei olam natan b'Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
With the Torah out in front of us, we offer a special prayer of healing and hope for all those who are sick or ill. We think of all of those still struggling and fighting with COVID. We think of all of those in the Ukraine suffering from unjust war. In our own temple family, we're especially thinking of Elaine Wall, Jamie Stern, Leah Stern, Joan Lipton, Arlene Green, Sadie Rosenkrantz, Roberta Traeger, Jody Ann Herman, Judith Lacasio, Rochelle Weinberg, Don Levy, Larry Bloom, Arnold Gilbert, Barbara Gilbert, Jane Levy, Brenda Levinson. As you might be thinking of someone in your own heart, we invite you to share the name out loud here in the congregation or on our live stream, place it into the chat.
Bat Velvo Vihindi.
For all those named out loud, for all those we hold in our own souls, we join in a Mishaberach for healing, which can be found in the middle of page 371 in your prayer books. We lift and dress the Torah. Please rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי ידו
return the Torah to the Ark, we invite Rochelle Weinberg to join us on the bima as we explore the words on page 374 that match this melody. Please be seated. This week's Torah portion, Shmini, is perhaps best known for the origin of the laws of kashrut. But in the opening verses that Sloan is chanting, it speaks about what is sacred. Nadav and Abihu, Aaron's two oldest sons, offer a sacrifice to God, as is their job. They are the next in line for the high priest. But they do something that doesn't please God, an alien fire, the text says, and they are killed. There's much discussion about what happened to them and why, but I want to look at something else. What happened next in the story? His sons have died tragically, and what does Aaron say to Moses, his brother, the leader of the Jewish people, about it? Nothing. What does Aaron say to his wife Elisheva, mourning two sons who have been killed? Nothing. What does Aaron say to his two remaining sons, Eleazar and Itamar, about their brother's loss? Nothing. It specifically says in the text that Aaron was silent. Silence in the face of injustice is cowardice. Silence fears that the side of prejudice and wrong might turn their attention to you if you say something. Silence is not a path to justice. Judaism teaches this lesson regularly. Just recently on Purim, the whole crux of the story is when Mordecai goes to Esther and says, if you say nothing to the king, then who knows what injustices will happen, not just to all the Jewish people, but to you. And so Miriam speaks up. On the story of Passover, the midwives, Miriam and Moses, all speak out to free the Jews. On Hanukkah, the Maccabees speak out against the cruelty of despotic powers. And so in our lives too. We are witnessing a moment of supreme injustice in the world. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is wrong and barbaric. As world leaders navigate their tricky role on the global stage, we as individuals need to keep speaking up. We must take sides, said Elie Wiesel. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are endangered, when human dignity is in jeopardy, national borders and sensitivities become irrelevant. Whenever men and women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe. We speak out as human beings as we watch an invading army oppress a civilian population. We lend our hearts and hopes to the people of Ukraine fighting an overwhelming army and halting their advance. We celebrate the heroism of individual Russians who speak against their authoritarian leadership and face incarceration or death for their protest. But in this synagogue, we must also turn to the Ukraine as Jews. Ukraine is the home of the story of Fiddler on the Roof and the ancestry of Shalom Aleichem. It's where Golda Meir was born, and also Isaac Stern, and even Mila Kunis. How many of you have family that runs through Ukraine? Tens of thousands of Jews live in Ukraine today. It has a democratically elected Jewish president and a burgeoning Reform Jewish community. I've had the privilege of learning with Rabbi Alex Duchovny, the chief Reform rabbi of Ukraine, who is an amazing person. There are 9 Reform synagogues in Ukraine. Everyone must help Ukraine, but Jews need to help the Jews of Ukraine, because no one else will. Lots of people will donate money to help the Ukrainian people, but only Jews will donate money to help the Jewish people. The Social Action Team and the Refugee and Immigrant Task Force team and I are looking for ways we as individuals and a congregation can do more. But if you haven't, now is a good time to donate to support the people of Ukraine. With the millions of refugees already, funds to actually help people directly needs to go through creative means. There is no shortage of organizations collecting funds. Among them, I recommend the World Union of Progressive Judaism, WUPJ.org. This is an international body for reform and progressive congregations across the world. They are channeling funds to help refugees with food, clothing, and making aliyah to Israel or entry to other countries. They're also specifically helping the 9 Ukrainian Reform synagogues, their rabbis, and their people find safety and freedom. The United States just announced that they will let in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Perhaps our synagogue can support a family as we have done with others in the past, to help them establish a start in their new home. If you have ideas, please share them with me, Lois Silverman, Jerry Strauss, who's waving his hand violently over there, or Marcia Parness, who's raising her hand over there. Unlike Aaron in the Torah, our synagogue community will not stand silent as our family is killed. Shabbat Shalom. While there is much woe in the world, we also share what is good in the world. The simchas and happiness, thank you. And microphones that we need to help support each other. So if you have something good going on in your life, a simcha, a positive thing in your family in recent days or just up ahead, raise your hand, I'll come over to you, tell us your name, and tell us what good thing is happening in your life. And today I'm going to start on this side of the room. Aaron, is that a hand or it's a hand?
I'm Erin Levinson, and I want to congratulate Sloan on her bat mitzvah tomorrow.
That's very nice. Thank you, Aaron. All right, this side of the room's got to work on good things. Get to it. I expect next week all of you to have a good thing going on in your life. Go find it.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Kimmler, and although it's more than 6 months away, Andy and I booked a trip to Australia in November to see our daughter and son-in-law who live in Melbourne, so we could count down from now.
Hi, my name is Sloan, and my bat mitzvah is tomorrow.
Anyone else over here?
My name is Jackson, and I'm almost ready to submit my application to be on next year's student government at my school.
Well, we look ahead to finding more simchas and blessings in our life and bringing them here to share them with each other, because apparently we could use some simchas from each other to share with each other. So let's go all make it a goal to try and find something good in our lives, in our family, in our world, and bring it to be part of our community. We turn to the concluding blessings of our service, beginning with the Aleinu in the middle of page 586. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו
שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ולאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. As a congregation, as individuals, as a community, we remember those who have passed away and we miss so very much. We think of all of those whose lives have been taken by COVID and continue to be taken in a pandemic that still exists. We think of all of those who have died, all the civilians, all the people fighting in Ukraine against oppressive forces. And we think of those in our own personal lives, in our own homes. As I share a list with all of us from our congregation, those in our live stream may want to put names into the chat for all to see there. This week marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of Carol Bobrow, Sadie G. Bromberg, Janet Cohen, Lee Cohn, Max Cohn, Claire Del Borgo, Sam Dickstein, David Fadelson, Joseph First, Susanna Reich First, Jack Gertner, Miriam Gottesfeld, Max Greenberger, Frida Jaffe, Morris Kessler, Levi Kowalski, Rose Kraft, Fred Leeds, Pauline Levine, Jeanette Levy, Samuel Lukowitz, Norman Nacht, Pearl Pincus, Willie Reinman, Carrie Rosenbaum, Manny Schwartz, Doris Solomon, Lena Sternberg, Samuel Teitler, Emmanuel Weinberg. We note in deep sadness the passing in this last week of Beatrice Narker, grandmother of Elise Sisolak, and our member Rose Weiner, wife of Arthur Weiner, and the recent passings of our member Gerard Cohen, husband of Mura Cohen, our member Jerry Cash, Harris Schoenberg, father of Dahlia Schoenberg, Ruth Goodman, aunt of Rabbi Meir Perlmutter, Rabbi Sanford Marcus, father of Julie Gomez. If you have names to add to the names we've shared, I invite you to call them aloud at this time. All of our loved ones live on because our memories and hopes hold with them, because we continue to make a difference in this world, recognizing who they are and what they do. We join together in our Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Please rise. Yitgadal, V'yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrah Kurute, V'yamlich Malchute, B'chayachon of Yomechon, Chaye Decho Beit Yisrael, Agalav Izman Kariv V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Le'olam Ameh Amaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal, Shmei Dekudusha Baruchu, Le'ela Minko Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechamata, Damiran Be'alma V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yamru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yamru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to every broken heart. And let us say,
Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol
Please be seated. Our final social action reader, for us reflecting on our wonderful mitzvah day and all we can do going forward, is Marjorie Blackman.
Hey, Lois, we know you're out there. Mitzvah Day at the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills is such a labor of love. It takes so many people carefully planning together to make it all happen. All that has been talked about tonight came about from the work of everyone on the social action team, under the wise leadership of Jerry and Lois. Too many names to mention for everyone else, though you all know who you are and you truly did at least one mitzvah. A shout out to our incredible temple leaders, Rabbi, Cantor, and Faye Gilman for all they did for the day, and to all our wonderful staff, including Alan, Cheryl, Andy, and Juan, who helped bring it all together in life in the building. And we would be remiss if we didn't thank all of the congregants who came to volunteer, participate, and do at least one mitzvah. It takes a village, and we have a great one. And in the words of Ezra Taft Benson, former Secretary of Agriculture, if you really want to receive joy and happiness, then serve others with all your heart. Lift their burden, and your own burden will be lighter. Thank you.
You had Secretary of Agriculture on your service bingo card tonight. You definitely won. Now some words to our congregation, our temple president, Neil Rosenblatt.
Evening, my friends. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you as always to Rabbi and to Cantor, Alan and Cheryl, Joe and Bonnie, Andy, Juan, Edward and his team, our greeters, and Tony Mack for their work in getting us prepared so we can enjoy our time together. Big mazel tov to Sloan on becoming a bat mitzvah tomorrow, and congratulations continue with the nod to her folks, Stephanie and Howard. Thank you guys very much for sponsoring this evening's Oneg. Service will be live streamed tomorrow morning at 10:30. Keep your eyes on the weekly e-blasts for all the events coming. Besides our weekly Torah study session, which is every Saturday at 9, we have all kinds of fun coming in store for Passover. We have our second night Seder on April 16th and the premiere of Passover Palooza for our religious school, which will be during religious school and for our religious school kids on Sunday, April the 10th. You've heard me say time and time again that social action is at the very core of everything that RTFH stands for. While it doesn't need reminding, Mitzvah Day was a way to drive home the importance of social action in the RTFH community and the rest of the community at large. A big thank you to all of our social action team members, headed up by my good friends Jerry and Lois. Hi, Lois. For the work they continue to do on behalf of others and for their contributions to our service this evening. I hope you listen carefully to the reflections of our social action team tonight. And Marjorie, your quote tonight was terrific, and the one I'm going to close with is not going to be as good as yours, so forgive me. The work that they do is as important as it is inspiring. And I hope this will serve as motivation for all of us here to take part in our next big social action initiative. And you'll see this in the coming weeks in our e-blast. The social action team will be promoting Every Day is Mitzvah Day, and you'll find specific opportunities for you to make a difference on any given day. As I said earlier, in addition to supporting the Ukraine, the social action team is working with immigrant families together to help immigrant families who are currently struggling to make ends meet. You can be connected to a family and send a care package to brighten their day. For those in our community with children, it's a wonderful chance to involve them in spreading light and love in the world. There's flyers in the back by the tzedakah box. For those on live stream, check out the e-blast. For those who hear that one or more personal thing, speak to Marcia or to Jerry or any one of our social action team members that are here. So for those that don't know, Sloan is what I would qualify as a big-time dancer. So it seems appropriate to turn to everyone's favorite palindromic band to close us out this evening. Do we know who it is? All right, very excellent, very good. Agneta, Benny, Bjorn, and Annie Fried, collectively known as ABBA, offer a glimpse in what's to come for Sloan and for her family this weekend. I did take a little creative liberty here. You're the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 13. You can dance and you can jive and have the time of your life, and I hope that's what you get this weekend. Have a great one, folks, and Shabbat Shalom.
As we prepare to head out to our ballroom for the oneg, we invite you on your way out to put your prayer books back on the table and then head to the ballroom to your right. To help us get ready, we're going to offer up the motzi over the challah, and I'd like to invite Sloan and anybody else in the room who has not yet gotten old enough to become bar or bat mitzvah. So basically, if you're 12 and under, please join us up at the Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
B'te'avon, bon appetit, and we close with 3 words: olam, olam, chesed, yibaneh. And that means the world can only be built upon love. Olam chesed yibaneh, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. 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 I will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. And you must build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. And if we build this world from love, yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai, then God will build this world from love. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Yai, lai, yalai, lai, lai. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Yai, lai, yalai, lai, yalai, lai, lai. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Yai, lai, yalai, lai, yai. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai. Yai, lai, yalai, lai, yai. Yalalai, lai, lai, yalalai, lai.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
they're kind of weird, they're hard.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah,
are.
yeah, that's some really tricky stuff.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Yeah, harder than you think it would be, so, okay.
You'll get it, it'll be great.
I hope so. Bye-bye.
Hey, Cantor. Hey, Joe. Hey, Jody. I'm noticing somebody's purse down there. And that might be where, George. What's her name? Oh, thank you.
Too much of a surprise.
Wonderful company, really, thank you.
Weird opening it up. There's a phone in here, so. I think it's Amy. Why don't you do it back?
Yeah, I think it's Amy. She was sitting there.
Yeah, Amy